Hi everyone, just thought I'd check in and show where I'm up to with my second not another vase of flowers. Okay, so I have stitched over this and I'm just going to get rid of the, that's better. Once you get rid of that pen, you can see if you've missed any bits or if it looks okay. It's not too bad. Maybe I might want to put the end of that R a bit better and link up that H, so I can just see it's readable. You can tell what it says. I'll just unplug my iron. Now what I've done, right, so this is the little bird. This was Christina 1, Dawn 2, Chris 1, and I think I liked seeing Chris's at the next workshop. She did the Fleur Woods one when she was handing them out. They looked like she's updated her design. So anyway, thanks Chris, that's a cute little thing. Also, while I'm having a little chat, I got this bee off Temu, or bug. Isn't that cute? It's got these little glittery things. It's not bad. It was only a couple of dollars here, but this one that I've got originally, I think, is just that little bit harder, the magnet, but this still works if I'm working with this one. Anyway, getting off on a tangent. What I want to do is talk about, I finished all of the thread painting on the flower. Originally it was sort of finishing here and then the tin was here, and I've stitched in this grey all around here, and then I realised it sort of looked a bit funny because it didn't look like the vase of flowers was coming out. It looked like there was this patch here with the flower on, and then the tin here which was not connected. So I've added in some extra little bits and added that to bring it in together. So far I've done this part of the tin, and the stitch soup, which I used 2 of the burgundy and 1 of this sort of cerise colour. They're not like a perfect red, but they kind of have a bit of the colours. Obviously on here the soup is in a different font and a different style, but I wasn't fussed about that. Still yet to think about that middle bit. What I actually think is I might do a stamp from my pins and needles set. The other thing is that I have to do this line here. It's a real sort of, it's a bit hard to say. It's because when you look at this red, it looks very orange. I got out this and I went, no, that's not at all right. So I've got out my oranges. I think it's kind of a bit of a dusty orange. I think that'll work. I'm planning to paint this red bit. Everything else will be stitched, but definitely planning to paint the red and go around all the letters. But I thought I'd do this one line of stitch first. Hope everyone's well and enjoying projects, and for those overseas, enjoying the start of spring. My favourite season, always. We were talking the other day and realised our summer started very early in Melbourne. And last week we've been, what, nearly 3 weeks into autumn, and last week we just had a whole week of 30-degree days. So we're all talking a little bit about how it seems that our autumn has started late. So we've started early with summer and we've started late with autumn. So we've had quite a good long summer, which is really nice. And every time autumn starts, it always starts with a bit of, oh, you know, like that smell of the rain and the leaves and all of that sort of stuff. But I've only noticed that once, one day. That was all. So it's a bit weird. I have at different times been going through all the layers, and then at other times I've just been trying to just take a snip of that top layer of that printed material just to keep it easier on my hands. Make it a bit easier. It's a little bit quicker to stitch up doing it that way. So I haven't quite picked out how or what I'm using for the painting. Probably maybe a bit similar to the last one where I did the little painting. I might try to, I was going to say I might try to sketch it with the Inktense and then use a watercolour brush. However, I was watching one the other day using the bars of Inktense, which I do also have, and wetting it and putting down what she wanted to put down with the brush. And then when she wet it again, this is inkjet printed. So as the material soaked up the water and crept in a bit, it's actually made the inkjet printer ink run a little bit. So thanks, Juanette. That was great that you did that. Not that you were happy about it, but we all learn from each other, and that just went to show that there are things that we learn, and then via others we learn. I won't try that. I don't think I'll try that, but I definitely want to paint it. So I'm thinking I might use, I want it to be solid, so I think I might use mix up a gesso in the right colour so it's quite opaque. So a gesso, I've got a tanny sort of colour gesso, and I've got a pink. I might use a white gesso and colour it with a bit of maybe acrylic paint. I'm saying that now as I'm thinking ahead for when I've finished this, because that's kind of the next step. I really love this little soup tin. It's so cute. The other thing I wanted to do, I'm going to snip around this and get that off, because I just think I liked putting it on at the time, but now I just feel it's a little bit not necessary to have this edge all the way out, just poking out there. So I'm just going to get in with those little scissors. Get in around there. And even though there was stitching holding that down, that's not going to matter anymore because there is stitching holding down the edge. Something I was doing, I've done this in the past because as a pet sitter, sometimes I do a Minder Home. There's a app or a website called Minder Home, and I decided I wasn't going to be going anywhere much this year because of the cost, change in financial circumstances, etc. But I just applied for one that I might get in New South Wales, so I'm going to be able to pop up and have a little holiday at some point this year, which is nice. It's in Moss Vale. Those who know Robertson will know that's only a good 15 minutes drive away, and so I'm hoping that the dates for that little house sit with a cat, I can pop up and have a visit to everyone and do one of the open day, even maybe two if I'm lucky. There might be two on in the time I'm up there, and just have a nice little holiday. Basically it'll just cost me my petrol, which is a pretty good thing. I've talked about stuff like that before, when you maybe house swap or something like that if you want to go somewhere overseas. But that's yet to be seen. Now Nora's gone back. We are adjusting how we are in the house. Back mother and daughter, back all over again. Both said it's like the old days. A bit like the old days. So, aside from the paint here and this little edge in there, what's the bottom? Oh, this is... Oh, okay, so this line along this bottom here is going to be the same as the colour that I want to put here, but I don't think I want to paint that thinner line. That's just way too thin. What I think I will do is just stitch a line here as well. So that's another thing to be done before I just paint that last bit and work out what I'm stamping on in here. So the other thing, I was thinking about, will I stitch down the sides? But I think that I'd rather not. I'd rather leave it so it's just like a very faint invisible line there. I don't know if I've got enough to do this, but I'm going to do it. And I'm not sure about those little marks that are there. I think I might just leave them as they are, these little marks. I did actually stick my finger, it's clumsy, poke my finger and then got a bit of blood on there. So there's a possibility I might paint that white, that bit, just so as I can cover up that little bit of a stain. Can't wash it out. There we go. Every time I see this little tin of soup, I think, oh, that's so cute. So cute. Lily's coming home a little bit early today. She's been, I think she's done her first, she's done assessment yesterday and today, and she's So she must have been there for 4 weeks already. I thought it was 4 weeks, and then at the end you do your assessment in super. So she has to finish her course and her assessment before she can actually deal with the direct public, of course. They're all, like, she's not the only one that's had a little bit of trouble with the assessment. There were some things that weren't talked about. And she said, oh, I failed that. And I said, how did you fail it? You've had 4 weeks. But she said that there was some questions that actually weren't covered in the training. And then the reality of it is that, so if you ever ring up and someone doesn't seem to know what they're talking about in the super, I mean, we just have to, when it's your own child, you go, oh, maybe I shouldn't be rude if someone's seeming like an idiot not knowing anything, because, you know, if I have a grumpy day. But you just have to realise that they're learning sometimes. Sometimes they're just there learning how to do the job. I shouldn't admit on camera that I have a grumpy day sometimes with people on the phone. They're seeming to be a bit not knowledgeable of the subject. But there you go. We'll just use that as my old age excuse. Okay, so I've got 2 things to do, and then I think that I'm finished. So it'll be this little bit, painting the red, and then deciding if I'm actually going to paint. The problem, of course, I can't get it out. The problem, of course, with painting this white is that I will then probably have to draw these back in over the top. But it's stained now, so I don't know. I mean, it could just be an old tin. What do you think? Reckon it matters? Okay, so I'm going to toddle off and find something for here and work out the paint, and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I've got a couple of Free Flow Artist's Acrylic Atelier, and this is quinacridone magenta and a red gold, and I'm thinking, because the tomato soup can is a bit, it's not red, it's a bit, you know, it's got a little bit of this sort of colour mixed in with it. This will match this orange thread I've used, and this matches a lot of that. So from colour harmony perspective, if I mix some of these with some white, well, we'll see how we go. But I think these with a bit of white, and I've got my, this is the liquid gesso, the Atelier, which I just love because it's so smooth. Smooth as, that's probably more than I need, but with a bit of colour swatching, might need a few goes. Right, that's way too magenta. That rusty orange definitely helps it look a bit more tomatoey. Now I'm thinking it's still maybe a bit too, perhaps it's a bit light. What I really need, put those. Is probably a bit of material to do a tester on. It's a bit salmony. Might need to get another red perhaps and add that in. Okay, I've got a little bit of red. This one is Naphthol Crimson. Let's see. Right, that's definitely going to redden that up a bit. Still a little bit too salmony. Oops. Okay, I'm going to get a bit of material to test it on. I've got one close at hand. All right, so let's just look. I think that this red is a bit darker than that. So I'm just going to swatch it anyway, just to see how it's looking. Now I am thinking, I think this red's too dark. Perhaps. Just adding a bit of that in. Oh well, this is still a bit too pink. That's a bit too apricot-y. Oops, that's definitely closer, isn't it? But I did want it a bit flatter and warmer, almost like there's a little bit of tiny weeny bit of black in it. I just want to keep a record of the colours that I've been using. And I'll write them down next to my swatch. And this was the kind of the original sort of more salmon colour that I came up with. Here's that mixture of the two that's a little bit too pink. So, letting it dry a little bit. It's a bit of black or blue in there, I think. I am not 100% fussed that it has to be the exact shade. It's obviously a representation rather than a direct copy. I'm going to add a bit more of this red. Let's just see what happens. So I'm having a bit of a play here. This has got a bit more blue in it. So what if I add a bit of that? Rather than get out a whole range of blues and, you know, maybe find it's difficult to get it to work. This is adding a bit of a blue tone from the burgundy. It's definitely a little bit bluer than that. It's still coming up a bit pink, isn't it? Quite like it. Let me get a fresh brush that's not got water on it. I'm probably trying to convince myself now, or I could be spending ages going round and round the garden path here. It's definitely a lot brighter, but I quite like it. I'm going to go with that. Okay, that's probably, some people might be cringing, but that's okay. Now I have got the tiniest, weeniest brush here. And I'm not going to do it all on camera because it's going to be very fine. Okay, this is going to be a very fine job. I don't think I've painted anything this fine not for a long time. But what I've got is this little thing that I'm going to give this a go. If I can get it up. I don't know if you can see that. I can't see that. Can I see better if I take my glasses off? Oh, that's amazing. All right, this is going to be a bit fiddly. So this whole area on here is very magnified. As long as I'm not putting this foot onto my actual paintwork, I can see it. Really amazing. I'm just not quite sure how it looks for you guys, but I'm going to give it a go. Oh my goodness. I can see everything up so close. I think I might even get a finer brush. Wow. So I'll just show you. It's actually, even this fine brush is still rather difficult. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for the whole thing. I'm going to persevere. I know it's boring to watch, so I'll do it off camera and see how I go and come back. Just thought I'd pop in to show where I'm up to. I've added some water to get it to flow a little bit, and I've stopped using this for most of it, but there are just some little bits that are just really fine, like just in this little R there. It was just one little bit I'd missed. So that's how I'm doing it. So okay, I'm going to keep persevering and I'll be back. Okay, so it's not absolutely perfect, but I've got a white uni ball, and they're really great for just giving just a little bit more definition. Such fine work. Doesn't look like a D. Condensed. Just going to add a little bit in here. I went over that line a bit. Just a bit of a highlight for that background, wherever any of the red is sort of bled through. Just trying to make it a bit crisper. There we are. I'm not fiddle-faddling with that anymore. The condensed is... Oh, okay, stop being picky. I was just going to pick it. Pick. I don't need to pick at it. So this is the only thing left to do. Find a stamp. Okay, I've got a couple of stitchy kind of things. I've got a safety pin. I've got one that says, hem your blessings with thanks. That's going to definitely be too big. There's a little pin cushion. That might be cute. I did originally think it might be good to have something like a cotton reel like that, but I'm just thinking it's too big. I've got some little pins. They're perhaps a little bit, what's the word? I don't know. They might just be a bit too obscure, I think. Use this. I like this. I like the safety pin, and I think that the safety pin's a good size. No, even that seems a bit too big. Scissors would be great. I'd love to put that pin cushion in. I think that'd be wonderful. Wouldn't that'd just be wonderful. I'm going to keep that aside. I think it's not the right size. I think it's just that bit too big. I don't mind the idea of a button. Peg, scissors too big. Ball of wool, twine, all of those are too big. A button's probably going to be a perfect size. What else have I got in here? Oh, there's a little thimble. It's a tiny little thimble. Oh, there's a nice big pin cushion. Oh, I love that. What about that? Is that similar size to the other one? Thimble, pin cushion, button. Let's have a look. So I got two different colours out. I've got frayed burlap in the Distress Oxide, and I've got Hickory Smoke. I'm thinking Hickory Smoke is going to be grey enough. Let me just get something to lean on. Just might have a little bit too much green in that frayed burlap. I think the thimble's a little bit, like it's a good size for it, but it's a bit obscure, isn't it? You can't really tell it's a thimble. Pin cushion. Still feeling it's a little bit, it's not the right size. The button's an exact perfect match. So I might just try that burlap just to have a look how it looks, the colour. Let's take those off. I could also have just stitched on a normal button. That was on the cards as well. Let's just see if this one is a bit more defined. So it does have a red, I mean, it has a red background. I don't know if I can be bothered with all of that. Possibly that greeny grey is going to, let's just fold it over. Thought I had some scissors here, but apparently I don't. I think the grey works where I've put this sort of grey around the sides, and it's like a, you know, it's not too far off a faint, sort of almost like a shadow of that grey. And I think even though that's got on some level a little bit of the tone of that orange deep in that colourway, I think it's the grey that works. And Hickory Smoke. Hickory Smoke's the one. Better just stamp off a bit of that dark colour that I had, because it might come through. Yeah, it did. Let's just keep giving it a bit of a stamp to bring it back to the grey. Okay. All right, here we go. That's going to be filling in that little circle. Absolutely perfectly. There we go. Does it look like a button? I guess I could put some thread up through it to make it look like a button. I like the orange. I like that. Oh, what if I've got two and two orange, two red. That might work. The question is, have I got the right needle? Have I got the right needle with me? No, because I left it all in the lounge because that's where I was doing some things. There we go. Yes, it went in. Perfect. There we go. That's all I need to worry about. Now, if this doesn't work, I'll be a bit disappointed because I've got those holes poked in there now. This will go through. Oh yeah, there it is. I was just going to say, not sure where my, let me make this the long one and the other one the short one, because that's got a nice neat end to it there. All right, we are going to come across and across. My pliers are in the other room too. Oh my goodness, come on. There it is. Let me get my scissors. How can I have 50 pairs of scissors and not a single one is right here, right near where I need it? That and that. A bit too long. That's better. And another one this side. That is fun. Just leave it a bit longer. Come up on this side, the middle. Okay, tie a little knot. Again. I'm really loving that I mixed that colour together. I may in the future come back and just, I don't know, tell me, do you think I should actually cut that a lot shorter? Should I have just done one? It does look like a button though, doesn't it? And I hope you've enjoyed that, and thanks for coming along for the journey. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.